No, I'm just playing with y'all. It's 2OneLIve. But as you can see, I got some new guests with me. And one of them, no disrespect to the fellas, but I am so happy to see.
Uh-huh. Hi. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm here.
This Rodney, y'all, we call her Sweet lovingly around here at the My New Philly studio. Y'all is in for a treat because boy can she argue.
Not argue, articulate.
No, let me finish. Let me finish, Sweet. Let me finish. Because Sweet, no, I'm going to give her our props at the same time. But this topic is one that she would love to dig her heels in. Hence, her finally dropping her reservation about getting on camera. And as you can see, I'm just so excited because Sweet is going to have great points. She's going to articulate, as she said, and she is going to get me out of here, and y'all going to love it. I'm going to get her out of here, too. Don't trip.
I don't know about that.
But the Sweet and Sour show is, this might end up with a spinoff. It might end up.
No, it will not.
So I'm sorry, fellas. I'm going to go over here first. Jerome, introduce yourself to the people, man. Tell them who you are.
My name is Just Jerome. You guys may have heard my voice on the Soapbox podcast, or you may have seen me around the city. I have an organization called The Intersection by Dion Carruth. I'm also a professor at Temple University, and I'm here to educate and entertain, baby.
Oh, you getting busy.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Over here, I got Corey.
You know.
Corey, tell the people who you are, man.
So my name is Corey S.D. Shelton. My resume ain't quite as impressive as yours was. But I was watching last week, or was it last week or 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, and the subject was something that I absolutely had to chime in on. So yeah, I've been got a lot of background in doing television and things like that. Did some work with your boy Quincy Harris, interning over at Fox 29. But this is something that I absolutely had to chime in, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to dialogue. So, let go.
We up here, man. We up here. So
let go then. Okay.
Listen, before we even get started, I want the people to know tonight's topic is heterosexuality under attack. So if you tuned in last week, you saw that we had some masculinity up here, right? We had two straight men and a straight female arguing the topic. We got a little bit of pushback on social, and they was like, well, the other side need to be able to speak. So is anybody up here gay? Is anybody up here bisexual? Is anybody up here on the other side?
What's the other side, though?
The other side of straightdom, heterosexuality.
I identify as a gay black man who is comfortable and confident.
All right, cool. What about you?
So here's a little secret for you. I've never actually said this in front of a live studio audience.
Exclusive.
Like never. So I identify as a black gay man.
Oh, look at him
I've
coming
never
out
said
on the
that
show.
I've never said that in public.
Yeah, that's an MMP first.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You better be who you are. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, damn,
so
Skippy.
We got some things to talk about, man. How you doing, Sweet? You good? You sure you good?
You want me to? I'm straight.
Let's be clear.
I mean, I've heard people guess other.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm straight.
All
right, there it go. Any racial preference, Sweet? No, I'm just messing with you.
He's trying.
So the first thing we brought up last week was toxic masculinity, and we had our guests go around and define what this ugly term means. So we're gonna do the same thing today. So, Sweet, I'm gonna let you go last, because I know she's gonna tear this one up. Corey, what does toxic masculinity mean?
Well, toxic masculinity, and again, these are just my opinions. Toxic masculinity is something that, if you're a straight person or perhaps other, I feel like toxic masculinity is something that you really kind of impose whatever your definition of masculinity is on people that might not necessarily be like you, to almost feel like to make them feel underneath you, and every single thing that they do is less than what you do. And a lot of times that happens directly, but most times it happens subliminally. And I think it's the subliminals that we really need to unpack. It's those conversations in the barbershop where it's topics that come up and, you know, we sit in the barber chair and, you know, you don't necessarily say nothing about the jokes or the jokes that were made. Because
the barbershop is a sacred place. You're supposed to be able to, that's like a comedian on stage. You're supposed to be able to say what you want on a barbershop.
I mean, you can say what you want, but at what is the height that you'll go, or actually I shouldn't say height. What is the lowest that you'll go?
I see where you're getting at. I'm gonna let these two chime in on toxic masculinity. What does that mean?
I think I share the same definition as Corey, right?
Yeah.
I think there's another layer there. That layer is the socialization piece that comes with that. So if you've been raised a certain way and you've embodied certain beliefs, you're trying to impose that either on your children, your friends, family. Those things are just reinforced socialization pieces. When it becomes toxic is when you are trying to impose it from a place that you feel or deem that it's more appropriate to do or be and act that way.
Okay. Sweetly deedly dee.
I don't have much more to add on to what's been said. I think they're both really good definitions. I guess I would define it as a patriarchal socialization tactic that.
Sure.
These two, they want to be T.I. and Tiny so bad.
Not T.I. and Tiny.
A patriarchal socialization tactic that sort of, y'all made me lose my train of thought, that imposes what masculinity is in a way that makes it violent. So it invokes violence through either misogyny or homophobia, and it sort of strictly defines what masculine can be, and it often leaves out the ways that other genders are masculine, because there are masculine women. So I think it leaves that out too.
You know what, Sweet? The back end of what you're saying, I actually can get some of. I can agree to that.
You just
now,
had to say it like that.
I'm going to mix this up a little bit because topic being heterosexuality is under attack, right? I heard the two of you talk about imposing, right? And I, for one, think we currently live in a society where, based on your definitions, I think there's a certain thing called toxic homosexuality, because that is being pushed and imposed on our culture and on straight folks and all of that. So if masculinity can be imposed, cannot homosexuality be imposed as well? Is that something that I just have to deal with and has to be in my face if I'm not interested?
Well, go ahead, Corey.
That was a dual tooth suck.
Go ahead, Corey.
These fools was like, I want some, no, I want some too. At the same time.
No, I mean, I think it like right now, I feel like we're in the advent of the LGBTQ community being able to have a voice when for so many years we have been voiceless. And I think to a heterosexual person that might appear to be like, oh, this is way too much, or this is way too much for now. But you also have to understand that this really kind of sort of just became something that was marginally acceptable within the last, 10 years or so. And it's almost, some would probably argue that it's kind of like a trend or a fad or something like that. When, for those of us that have identified like this for as long as we can remember, it is not a trend and it is not a fad. And so because this is something that is so new in terms of being accepted, it's something that when you've had no voice for as long as anybody can remember, hell yeah, we gonna keep talking and we gonna keep putting it in your face and putting it in your face and putting it in your face, because for the last 100+ years, we have been chastised, we have been made fun of, we have been belittled. And so now we get to the first 3, 4, 5, 6 years when, it's okay for us to maybe have a man and another man kiss on TV, or a woman and another woman kiss on TV, and now it's like, oh my God, that enough is enough. Now they kissed the first time, but do they have to actually take their clothes off? Oh my God, I can't. Like,
so It's a little bit on that I want to get into, but I want to let these two chime in as well.
I think what we have to be clear about is that we often associate masculinity with sexuality, and they're two different things. There are masculine gay men, there are feminine straight men. Right. So I think when we talk about the idea of imposing means that I'm suggesting something. I can't impose my sexuality on you. I can't impose my beliefs on you. I can make you aware about what I feel is comfortable for me. And at the end of the day, your choice to either accept or reject that is your choice. But what's happening is similar to what Corey is saying, is that it's becoming more acceptable or more normalized. So the process of normalization is being able to accept and say, okay, I see this a lot. I'm used to this. I can accept that. That's what's happening. What has happened historically is that being straight or being heteronormative has been the norm for such a long time, so we don't see any problem with that because that's considered normal. So what we really are discussing is abnormality and normality.
Wow.
I'm here to talk? Okay.
Damn, you about to turn, Sweet.
What's up?
Can that happen? I don't know. But go ahead, Sweet.
In reference to the question, which is why can't it say the question again?
Well, I think Jerome kind of touched on where I was going. Can it be imposed is what I'm saying, right? So the two of them at the first question, they mentioned that toxic masculinity is imposing what you feel as though is hetero strong or whatever upon somebody else. So I flipped that and said, in today's society, it seems to me that homosexuality is being imposed like that. Your thoughts on that?
I disagree. I think it's one of those arguments, well, can it go the other way? And in a lot of cases, when it comes to the oppressed versus the oppressor, it can't. People like to argue that in some ways, but that's not how oppression really works. And I also think that the ways in which toxic masculinity and homophobia has been forced onto other people is, again, violent. A gay person's not going to try to beat you up for being straight. So I don't see the correlation there in that way. It's very much forced on marginalized people that you have to, in some way make yourself like the oppressor. And there are repercussions if you cannot fit into that. There are no repercussions the other way. It's sort of, and I don't even think that, people in... There's not
no repercussions the other way, but I'll agree that they're not as...
No, there's no repercussions if you decide you don't want to be gay at all. Like,
there's repercussions in your own community if you decide you don't want to be gay.
How so?
I'm not even in the community, and I know that.
What happened?
If you as a straight man decide, I'm going to be straight for the rest of my life, I'm cool, I'm not gay. Like, gay people aren't going to be mad at you for not being gay. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that gay people are antagonized simply for the fact that they are gay. I think that there's a very distinct difference that you have to sort of recognize there.
But when you use the word antagonize, and once again, I'll point to that's why this show is even a topic, is that we do live in a society where straight men are newly questioned, right? Like he said, there's feminine straight men, right? We live in a society now where even whether you're part of the straight community or the gay community, you can be antagonized for some of your methods and ways you move or talk and things like that.
But I will say that's as a result of toxic masculinity and homophobia. So but it is, because where else would those norms come from?
That's very
For
true.
normative things to exist, someone has to make them the norm, and it's not gay people who decided that was the norm. Why would they, act against their own self-interest in that way? Like, you kind of have to think about origins.
I've heard gay people make gay people jokes. I've heard certain types of lesbians not like other certain types of lesbians and things of that nature.
Oh, you mean like colorism in like the black community? And I know that, referencing, you ignore intersectionality and all that stuff because there are people who are both black and gay. So sometimes it's hard to make those comparisons. Mm-hmm. But in instances like this, you can kind of see how it would be similar. We have intra-racial struggles within the black community. Mm-hmm. So I would assume it's the same way in any other marginalized community. There's struggles that they have, and that's their community, and
I'm simply making a point that it's not as deep. I agree, it's not as deep when you say, the gay community ain't gonna come after you for being straight, as the straight community comes after gay people for being gay. It's big wide gap, but I do believe it exists. I do believe that even if it's not, get out of here, you straight, is, you sure you don't want none? Or you got this, or you been
Who
around
be
here, or
asking
you
you
this,
that?
that. Come
Who be
on, man.
asking you
Listen,
that?
I've been straight all my life. I'm going to be straight the rest of my life. But the DMs I get,
Okay.
the inboxes, the in-person stares and looks and things like that, I get that too.
Okay.
And it's almost like if you are not into that, and that leads us into our next question. My disagreement doesn't make me homophobic, right?
That's true.
If that's just not what I'm into, and Eb and other people will tell you this, that's just like an ugly girl looking at me.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want you, shorty, you know what I mean?
And you can respectfully decline. I think what she's hitting on is saying that there has to be a standard. So if a man is approaching you in a certain type of way, there is something happening in his mind that makes him thinks that is a possibility, right? And it could be the way that you position yourself, how you dress, how you talk, whatever that is, but that's reinforced by those same stereotypes that we also, as even gay men, sometimes subscribe to. So if a person's kind of feminine as a man, you're like, oh, is he, let me see what's going on with that.
Right.
Or
but
if he, you know what I mean?
But to my point,
I get
if
that.
you are heterosexual and then that energy is acted upon, right? To your point about maybe it's just something feminine about them, right? If that is shot down in a way that's like, no, get out of here. That's not phobia.
No, it ain't phobia.
That's you just not my type. You're not what I get into.
No, you're not into men.
But I think we live in a world that automatically presents that as phobia.
But I think it also depends on
disagree.
exactly how it's packaged. Like, how exactly are you declining that advance, right?
But why? Because women don't have to do that.
Because watch this.
What?
If
Women don't have to present, this is why I'm declining.
No.
Fuck out of here. I don't want you. Leave me alone. And now you keep going. It's harassment. When have we heard of...
I disagree.
What?
Why? You don't want friends? You can't have friends? They
Not
really want you to
friends.
explain.
No, but I know guys do. That's what I'm saying. I know guys do, but what I'm saying is that's not required of a woman to turn you down nicely. What he's saying is it depends on how you do the turn down for a straight man on a homosexual man.
As a
let me
woman, I
give you
completely
an
disagree, but-
example. So what I'm talking about is if a man comes up to you and gives you some sort of advance, and your response is "fuck out of here with that,"
Right.
versus a not so attractive woman that you might not necessarily be attracted to, she gives you an advance, and then your response is not so much "fuck out of here with that." It's more so, "No, I'm good, love." The difference is offense. Like, you're offended, not you, but the person could be offended that the guy even had the audacity to approach him with some bullshit like that.
But that's a far away thing, right? You're what I'm into. You just ain't my flavor. You would never ever happen, and I want to make sure you know this would never ever happen.
So is that not possible with a female that is just like not your type? It would
Yes,
never,
but what
ever,
I'm
ever
saying
happen?
is that woman would never then say, "Oh, he's scared of or discriminatory of women."
No, I think that's something different. I think homophobia is more related to someone's interaction that it can harm someone else potentially. I think in an intimate setting or a potential intimate setting, when someone's kind of making an advance, I don't think someone who would be gay would find that to be homophobic, because I'm not sure. I'm just trying to test the waters. I don't know. Right? So oftentimes, even with me being a black gay man, I'm often in spaces where I'm interacting with straight women. I get passes by women. I don't know who's gay in the room. So how do I approach that? Do I have to go on an app to find it out?
Right.
Do I have to ask, is your homie what kind of situation? We don't know, right?
So you're saying you would not be offended if
I would not be
you went
offended.
at that dude thinking he was, and he was like, "Nah, fuck out of here."
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with homophobia, because
Okay.
I'm not aware. I'm trying to position myself to understand if it's the same way. We're still men, regardless,
Right.
sexuality or not. So a man is a man. So if we want something, we're gonna go get it.
So sweet, let me present this to you in a way so that we can be clear. And I want your rebuttal. So what I'm saying is that I believe that a woman can turn down a man. We talking straight, right? A woman can turn down a man, period. She don't got to give you no reason. she can say anything from no thank you to fuck out of here, and it never becomes a thing about how that man feels about women or how that woman feels about men. It's automatically assumed she must got a boyfriend or she don't, you know what I mean, whatever. But we do live in a society where if a straight man is approached in this way and he says something that's aggressively, no, ill, or whatever, that's construed as phobia in our current society. Yes or no? And how do you feel about that?
I have experienced the I'm not interested. Oh well, she must not like, you know. Yeah, I've experienced that personally, so I don't know what the general consensus for women is, but the phrasing of it threw me off because I absolutely, in most cases, have had to give like an explanation, or else I was met with toxic masculinity, vocab words. I was definitely met with that upon like, oh no, thank you, I'm not interested. All sorts of, you know, terrible responses. But I understand what you're saying.
I'm just positioning it in a way that is like sticking to the topic. Where does that line get blurred as far as now I'm on homophobic from I just don't agree. I just don't like, for example, right here, right now, it's a perfectly good representation. Like, I would hire you for a job. I would hire you for a job. I would rock out with either one of y'all. Go out, have a good time, whatever it is. But I still don't agree with that side of your sexuality. But because it doesn't affect me, I could give a damn, right? You might be a vegan. I like meat. I don't agree that you should be a vegan. I'm going to still eat a burger around you. In my mind, those two things, it's the same thing. That's the way that I am. I love people. I love, just be cool. Just be a cool individual, a nice person. That's how I am. But I, the straight man, I still don't agree that a man should be with a man.
Yeah, but that's rooted in your beliefs, though. It gotta be, right?
Would either of you consider that homophobia?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's rooted in your beliefs, but it has to come from somewhere, right? So in your experiences, oftentimes our experience of discomfort comes from somewhere. So the question when I ask my students, counseling, whatever the case may be, where is this coming from? Where is this stemming from? And it's okay. But you don't have to provide a rationale behind it.
I'm not even going there. Even when you say discomfort, that makes me uncomfortable. Because it's not a discomfort. I'm between two gay men right now.
Okay.
Pause. But I'm very comfortable. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is I'm not affected by it in a way that's like, I feel like, they nasty, they this, they that, I'm calling y'all names and shit like that because of y'all choices. I'm just saying, I don't think it's right. I don't think you should do it. Just like people say, well, I don't think you should eat meat. But McDonald's ain't closing down.
But again, it goes back to there's rooted in the belief system. It's an ideology.
But why does why does it have to be discomfort? Because when you say discomfort, that sounds like toxic homosexuality to me.
What is that? What is that?
It is a thing. Damn it.
The thing is, when I'm saying discomfort, if you're expressing it in a way that you're suggesting that, why does it matter who I like and what I do?
Well, I said it doesn't. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm saying I can agree to disagree. Okay. And still look at you as a human being, right? And even knowing you gay, if you was in trouble or anything like that, I'm still gonna help. You come down any of my business for a job or something, if you the best person for the job, you still getting hired. I don't discriminate in any way, shape, or form. Okay. But I think that we live in a time where straight people are not allowed to say that they disagree with anything. They're not allowed to say that they disagree with, little boys having skirts on or.
But no one's asking for your validation.
Thank you.
Though.
That's what I was waiting to say.
Like
Nobody asked.
What you're speaking about is validation. Your approval of what I do is invalid. But so you're saying you disagree, but your disagreement
it's contradictory though.
It can't be contradictory.
The community, I don't
not
feel like
the community.
saying all letters right now. The community will attack your ass for some of these things that I'm saying. If I was to go on, like, it was a perfect example. There was a picture that somebody posted. It was, I don't know if y'all seen it, was like 12, 13 boys. They were probably 11 to 14 years old or something. ballerinas.
Sure.
They all were in white, doing their toe, and somebody said, well, they need to be going playing basketball somewhere. And the community was in an uproar about that.
Okay.
Right? I can't say I agree or disagree, but what I can say is I don't know that that imagery belongs in this public place like that.
But why? That's what they're doing though. They are dancing.
I understand that.
So that's a representation.
But at their age.
At their age of dancing?
No, I'm not talking about.
Are they stripping? Are they popping?
I'm talking
what's
about.
happening?
I'm talking about.
They dancing.
Let's keep it real with how it looks.
How do it look?
Right?
But why does it look the way it looks?
It looks like it's an attack on heterosexuality.
No.
No.
15 black boys that are dressed like ballerinas.
He done watched some Hotep videos or something. my thing is, it had nothing to do. The thing is that if this is a representation, we're all on a continuum, right? Culturally. So you have your artists, you have your creators, you have your businesses, you have people who are construction workers. The thing is that when people see that type of imagery, you find that it's damaging to masculinity. That's what you're essentially saying.
I am.
But how? If it's on a continuum. Because these straight boys can be dancers. They can be ballerinas. They can be dancing in hip hop. They can be doing choreography. And they can still be straight men. But because the perception of dance associated with women, that becomes problematic and that becomes an issue.
It's not the dance associated with women. It's that you got boys in leotards. You got boys in these pink slippers.
That's the attire for dance and ballerina.
That's the attire for ballet dancing.
But
what are they supposed to wear? Ball shorts and a t-shirt? And some J's?
Here's my counter, right? When women is playing football, it's toxic masculinized because they're in lingerie.
It's not real football.
It's not. They would knock the shit out of you if they heard you say that, because they believe it is real football. But to her point, we got to open our eyes sometimes, and we got to be like, yeah, this was created by men.
No, so it's about the functionality of the uniforms and the attire. So when you...
The women could wear tights too.
Yes.
They ain't got to wear lingerie.
I'm aware. But the uniforms that you're talking about in like women's sports and about them being scantily clad, them saying that it's not, fit. It's because for what they're doing, it doesn't make much sense unless you're looking at it through the male gaze and this is what they want them to wear because they're women. You don't
think any of that is at play?
No, I'm saying it is, but I'm saying in the case of ballet dancing, this is what's required for maximum performance.
I've seen dancers, male dancers, with tights on.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's not what's required. Like the
you rather than wear tights than a leotard, is that what you're suggesting?
What I'm saying is imagery like that is damaging to
They weren't wearing a leotard and tights?
But it's not, because if it's, you're associating something that's an opposite as an opposition to create an issue, and it's not an issue. That's the problem. It ain't none of your business what they wearing because they're performing for a dance. So if it depends on, again, in parenting and in terms of how we socialize our children, everyone has different prerogatives. My dad raised me socially to behave and act as a man, right? We can talk about what that looks like in our culture. I played basketball, I played football, but I said, Dad, I don't want to do that. I want to play tennis. I want to run track. All right, son, you got this, you got the height, you got your skills, you got it from me, you can do it. No, that ain't me. That ain't me. So the one thing that my dad taught me was how to be my own man, period. That doesn't lend itself to what I had to subscribe, because him and I would have disagreements. And it wasn't until I got older that we had to have a conversation to say, you're going to have to respect me as a man, period. I'm my own man. And it may look different than how you may view manhood, but it doesn't mean that I'm a less of a man than you or less masculine than you or feminine than you because I choose different sports or whatever the case may be. So what we have to understand is that we have to stop labeling. That's all it essentially is labeling. So it's not damaging to masculinity. All it is an extension or a spectrum.
I gotta get my attack. I gotta get my attack.
Go ahead, get your attack ready. Get your attack ready. It better be good now.
Because this is the thing about the community.
What community?
The LGBTQIA2.
Don't he sound like he about to say
community.
The blacks?
You keep trying to group everybody together though.
No,
Everybody's
that's
different.
See, and there's my attack. It's not me. It's you guys. It's you guys. It's you guys. It's you guys. Because what happens is this. Now, don't get it messed up. I agree in the oppression and all of that, and the group coming together and fighting for what's right and equality and all of that. I'm all for that. I'm for it. I am. But I think what it created now is that if you're outside of those letters, you're opposed. So you just said it's not about labels, right? But as a part of that community, it's exactly about labels. It's 100% about labels. There's labels within those labels that don't fuck with each other, right? Because of the label that they have. So it is about labels, and I think that the world we live in, period, even if we're not talking about straight, gay, or nothing, we live in this world now that has become so sensitive that there's so many things that you can't say that I, for one, believe we're going to get to a point where people say, fuck it, I'm saying everything. I'm saying what I want. I'm saying the F word, I'm saying the M word, I'm saying whatever I want to say.
So going back to what people were doing before.
Exactly. And the point of it for me is, and you know we've argued about this in the studio before, it's never been the word. It's the context behind the word. So you do not need words to have labels. If there's something in my mind that I see as you, right? And I'm politically enough correct, I run a business or whatever, I'm not gonna call you the F word, right? Even if I hate gay people, I run a business, I'm not gonna call you the F word. There's people out there that are like that, but they still feel that way once they realize that's what you are. They still feel that way in their heart, but they'll never come out and address it. So I say all of that to say it is about labels, and it is about agendas, and it is about what's being pushed on television, social media, Instagram, whatever it is. The straight community is being made to feel as though they cannot stand up for what should look straight. But the LGBTQ community is allowed to stand up.
I have a question.
You can't say what the hell is straight.
What looks straight?
And
what looks straight?
Here's the thing. You can't say what looks straight or what is straight, but have a whole entire community that fights for what they want to look like, want to feel like, want to be like.
What they have to do with you or anybody else, though?
It has to do with the topic, sir.
No.
Heterosexuality is under attack.
But even the topic is problematic in the conversation. But my point is,
that's why we're here.
Exactly. So it can't be. The thing about it is that even
jump in, bro. You've been quiet for a while.
Sure, because I'll take over. Even what you just said, you're saying that people it's an agenda, it's pushing. What does representation mean that it's pushing? It doesn't mean that it's pushing, it means representation. Whereas you've never seen it before. So because you're uncomfortable in viewing it, that doesn't mean that it's being pushed on you.
See,
you're still
you're doing it again with the uncomfortable.
No.
It's not about it.
It has to be.
It's not about comfort.
It has to be, because why does it matter?
Because it's about viewpoint. What you're saying is.
What's the viewpoint, though?
Here's the viewpoint. Pink is for girls, blue is for boys.
Why?
Right? If I'm a straight person and that's how I was raised, I'm allowed to think that way.
Sure.
Right? But like she's in an uproar, like, why? Pink could be for boys too.
It could be.
I'm allowed to be like, no, my son's not wearing pink.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean that I'm uncomfortable. It simply means that I want to push a masculine agenda on.
You want to push toxic masculinity on.
No, not toxic.
That's what it is.
No, it's not. It's that I don't want him in a skirt when he's 13.
That's toxic. That's what you want, though.
No, it means that I'm allowed to choose. See,
you're choosing for him.
No, what the community says is
not
the community says.
Not the community.
The community. I'm going
to let his community term.
It's too many letters. Y'all need to shrink it.
It's okay.
What the community says is it's okay, and everybody has to be like, it's okay. You're allowed to say, no, it's not okay. Just as much as I'm allowed to say, we ordering pizza. I don't want pepperoni. What? Pepperoni is okay. It's going on all the pizzas. But I don't like it.
That's okay.
But no one's saying that you have to.
No one said that.
Like,
so where is this coming from?
The point that I'm making is blue and pink. I'm allowed to say boys don't wear pink. I'm allowed to say that, just like the community is allowed to say, no, boys can wear pink.
Okay.
There lies the issue.
I think what the difference, though, is what happens in my own household. versus you saying what is right in the world.
Exactly.
Okay, because if you're saying that boys wear, and I actually agree with you, you know, like I legitimately do. Like I am the gay that believes that boys should do one thing and girls should do another thing.
Well,
but
that's interesting.
it is.
Sure.
And we can unpack that later. But I think that the difference is you saying that boys in general are supposed to do X, as opposed to the boys that I raise are going to do this. Because when you say that all boys are supposed to do something, then, and they're not doing that, now you're making it seem as though what they choose to do in their household is wrong. This is just what you choose to do in your household. And just because you choose to do it in your household doesn't make what I do in my household wrong. Does that make sense?
He gonna
Can I get some
disagree. He
water?
gonna try to find a disagree. He's trying to find a way to disagree, y'all. He's trying to find a way, even though he probably agree. Go
Here's
ahead.
my issue.
Go ahead.
Here's my issue. It is not a thing about agree or disagree.
Oh God.
You said if I don't agree,
You just
that
said,
doesn't.
You just said you don't agree.
You said
It's
if
a
I
thing.
disagree, it doesn't make me phobic. So that's the
It's
topic.
a thing about there's another side of that coin. And the way I choose to want to perceive life, I'm allowed to. Anyone is allowed to. So
Absolutely.
when you talk about inside my house and outside my house and all of those types of things, you can't have a community who says that a certain thing is the right way and stands on that thing against another community.
No one said it's the right way. It's an other way.
And
But
it's not
you're
even
always-
against
It's a
the
different
community.
way.
It's not even against another community.
There's
It's
always
not
pushback.
against.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
There's
it's always pushed
pushback.
forward. It's always pushed forward. You just say here and say you don't want your son wearing a tutu or a dress or whatever, and that's your choice. This man just said whatever you do in your household is your household. So why are you concerned
But no,
with the
we-
households of other people and how
bec-
they choose to raise
Because
and/or
the
present
households of other
themselves?
people affect my household.
How?
Because my son or daughter has to see these things.
Okay.
So now, here's the thing. If I have an 11-year-old.
So you want everybody to be like your household?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's
What
essentially what you're saying.
It's not. What I'm saying is, I want the freedom to teach my way, and I want the freedom to be my way around people who are not like me.
You do have that freedom.
Right? No, I don't
You do.
around the community.
So what? But you have that freedom
I'm getting
already.
out of here with the community.
Because
bro.
I don't know what this community is, but you already had that freedom.
We ain't got no more waters. Can I get a water?
Give them
See, I'm
something,
on
y'all.
coffee up here.
Give them something. Please help them out, y'all.
But no, I'm not saying that I want everyone to be my way or a certain way. I'm simply saying that the choice of straight, the choice of super masculine, the choice of rough and tough, get up, you ain't hurt, go do this or whatever, that's not toxic.
That is toxic.
It's not.
It literally is, because if you're stifling a child emotionally, that could traumatize them for life.
See, and that's where we go. We automatically assume that we're stifling someone. That's like saying the same thing on your side. It's like saying, oh, cry, be just feminine, do what you want.
Why are
wait,
you
wait, wait,
no,
wait.
no,
Let
no,
me finish my
wait.
point. Let me
No.
finish my point.
No.
Just
Let
cut
me
them
finish
out,
my
y'all.
point. Let me finish my point.
Go
Here
ahead,
you
finish
go.
your wrong
Cry,
point.
be feminine, do whatever.
Be feminine.
Cry, be feminine. Like it's the same thing.
Listen. But the child that you're saying that to is Mike Tyson. The child that you're saying that to is Paul Bunyan. He's about to grow up to be one of the roughest, toughest men ever. He's allowed to be that. So the flip side is never discussed. Just like you could say, oh, get up and be tough, and that kid be a little effeminate male. Don't even have to be gay.
Well, you got a point to
But
me.
but no, I'm saying
I'm playing with you.
you mentioned effeminate male.
I'm playing with you.
If you impose the other side upon somebody who's not going to be that, that too is wrong. And I think nobody addresses that.
But I think you're taking the inch that they're talking about, like give us an inch of leeway so we can express ourselves, and moving that a mile up into, well, now everybody got to be like this, and that's not what the community
But
is
you know
saying
why it's
at
not
all.
an inch?
And can I finish my
Go
point?
ahead, do your thing.
Okay. I personally think that you're taking it way farther than they intend to. It's just let people be how they are meant to
Yeah,
be,
it ain't your
and how.
business.
And I think it's harmful when you try to enforce something, even if it's in your own household, because that child may grow up to resent you, and then you end up in a home when you're old and you die without seeing your grandkids. Like, I just think that it's damaging to people when you don't allow them to express themselves. And the whole, I don't want my kids to see it, they will be in for culture shock like you don't know what once they leave your grasp.
Absolutely.
Once they go out and they don't see the world that you only let them see, and they see the rest of it, because you can't hide them from how the world is forever. They're going to grow up and be in rooms with other people who are different than what they experienced in their childhood, and they won't know how to react to that. And that's how you get bullies who push children who are different into harming themselves.
What you're talking about is something different.
How?
I'm gonna address that, but I gotta go back. When you say, the only point that I'm trying to make, and I know we got some comments, we're gonna go to that in a second. The only point that I'm trying to make is, if you force anything on someone, right, you have to understand that there's another side of the coin. We don't know where someone is going. So to automatically say to, like I said, a child that's going to grow up and be a manly man. I'm not talking toxic. I'm talking a manly man. Even to give him a trophy for second place is disrespectful to him. Because that's not who he is.
But what does that have to do with masculine versus feminine or sexuality? I think you're
Because
going into a lot of different things.
Because
I'm not getting the
we're
correlation.
talking toxic masculinity,
But
right?
also,
Are we?
It seems to me that everything that pushes the edge masculine-wise, somewhere it ends up toxic instead of it just ending up, no, this is what I wanted to be.
But you have to look at the reasons why some things are considered masculine and some things are considered feminine. Emotional intelligence and interpersonal communication skills should not be limited to femininity. It should be something that everyone knows how to do, and I think that's what people are saying. Yes, if a child needs to cry, let them cry, whether they're a boy, girl, whatever, that doesn't matter, because that is an emotional release that needs to happen. It's not feminine, it's not masculine, it's just human nature. And I think when you don't allow children to do that, they find other ways to deal with that. Sometimes it's rage. Sometimes they just grow up to be violent, and that translates as masculine to them because that's what they were force-fed by parents who wouldn't let them cry.
Absolutely.
And to my point again, sometimes they don't.
That's true too.
And that's the part that I'm trying to bring to light. Everybody's not I was gay when I was young and my dad told me I better not never wear nothing like this and now I'm traumatized for it. Some people is, no, my pop was fucked up way of thinking and I wanted to be gay and now I'm gonna be gay and I'm okay, I'm good. You see what I'm saying? It's not always you suppressed the right thing or the wrong thing. And I think we get hung up in that so much when it's like, oh no, you let people be who they gonna be or whatever. Okay, you could let them be a strong, straight man as well.
We're not saying that's wrong.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is we live in a world now, right?
Sure.
Where
We always
you're
lived in a
not
world.
allowed to say, you're not allowed to say
She funny.
these manly things to little
What's
boys.
manly? But what's manly? That's what
It-
I'm trying
it-
to. But that's what
apparently
I'm
it's
trying to
anything
get
you
you to
say. It's
but that's what I'm trying to get you to think about why certain things are manly and certain things are not. We don't exist in a vacuum. These
what I'm
things were
saying-
decided for us by people who don't have our best interests at heart and don't want us to grow as people.
But that's not always the issue either. What I'm
No,
saying
it
is,
is
what I'm
because these
saying
norms come from somewhere else. They
there
wouldn't be
is
norms. They'd be
masculinity
coincidences.
exists, right? And you spoke about a spectrum, right? A
Sure.
continuum.
Right.
Why can't I be at the top of the masculinity spectrum and push that
The top.
on?
Why is it the top? Why isn't it the right or the left?
There's a continuum. I'm saying
why
whatever's
is
the
it the
most
top?
masculine thing.
But why? You see how you associated that with the top? So we going
No,
down.
it
What's
don't
the
got
bottom?
to be the top. It could be whatever is the most
But you
masculine
have to be
thing.
intentional in this sort of language.
No.
Speak with intention.
No, you
Because
see,
words mean things.
No, it don't. You looking
It
too
don't?
deep into
It don't.
You looking too deep into it.
Now
what I'm
we looking
saying
too
is,
deep.
here's the thing, right? A gay man can be as flamboyantly gay as he want to be.
So can
Or-
straight men.
Right.
Or he can be what? He could be straight. I mean, it's masculine, excuse me, as he want to be as well.
No, this is true.
Right.
But we talking about the other end of the continuum.
Why you keep saying on that side?
We
though?
talking about this the bad side too? All right, well, let's move over here To the
At
good
least he's not
side.
saying the top
No, ain't the bad side.
Let's move over here.
Yeah, you
They could be
associate
as
femininity
flamboyant as they
and
wanna
femininity
be.
with being gay, but there's also masculinity and being gay as well.
But here's what I'm saying. Here's my question.
I got football player friends,
Let's keep
basketball
moving
player
down
friends.
the flamboyancy train.
Uh-huh.
When does it become toxic?
When y'all beating somebody's ass for something else. That's
No,
when it
no,
becomes
no.
toxic.
When does them alone become toxic?
When does them belong? What?
The flamboyancy. When does it become toxic?
I don't get the question.
In
I'm sorry.
unison,
Yeah,
let's everybody say never.
We're not sure what you're
Yeah,
asking.
what
Yeah.
is
You
your
can be
question?
as gay or as feminine as you want to be,
Okay.
and it never becomes toxic.
So
right or wrong?
what I'm
Well,
getting from
what?
this is that you didn't listen to any of the definitions of toxic masculinity that
No,
we gave.
I did.
Because
I'm
if we
trying to go.
specifically are saying that it's you're forcing someone to be something against their will, if that's part of it, and there's also violence brought into that, that's the toxicity right there.
We taking violence out of it. I totally
But
agree.
that-
When you go there, I totally agree.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But
I
that's
totally
part
agree.
of the definition.
You added that on. Remember, I said I agree with the back end, but they ain't add that on. They ain't add on violence. They just was talking about imposing what you are. And what I'm saying is, it seems to me in society now, I could be top of the food chain, top of the food chain.
This nigga,
Meaning
he
what?
King
A
Kong. That's what he think he is.
homosexuality or flamboyancy.
Uh-huh.
And it is celebrate, shake your pom-poms. Oh, look at him being him, or Shim being Shim, or her being her.
Shim?
Not
But
sham.
It's time to wrap it up,
They
y'all.
got
That's
it's a bunch of
transphobic,
pronouns,
but
different pronouns.
Not a shim.
that's transphobic.
But you can't be Shim ain't one of the pronouns.
That's
I
transphobic.
just added that.
You know damn
It's
well
not
ain't no
transphobic.
pronoun.
It is transphobic.
It's not. It's uneducated ignorance. That's what it is.
I would agree with
I don't
him on
hate
that.
trans people. I just
that's
thought
not
Shims
what
was
that-
Shims.
that's
You
not
know there
always
ain't no
what that
damn
means.
turn.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
That's
not
what you.
it.
That's what you call
Look,
it.
I think I
It's a
understand.
new term every week, bro.
You a lie.
I think I understand what you're.
Yeah.
I think I understand what you're saying. Like if you're saying if you're
Articulate it better than me, please,
if
Corey.
you're if we're talking about opposite ends of the spectrum, whether one end of the spectrum is as flamboyant as you can be and the other end of the spectrum is as masculine as you can be, or if you fall somewhere in the middle, I don't think that there's a problem being in any of those different
Me either.
positions, right? Whether you can be as masculine as you want to be, whatever that means to you, you can be as feminine as you want to be, whatever that means to you. I think where the problem comes is wherever you fall on that spectrum is making the person that is on the opposite side of the spectrum
Absolutely.
feel like you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be up here. And if I'm up here, you're not supposed to be down there. You're supposed to be over here. You know what I mean?
And what I say
that
to
makes
that is
Pastor.
the other side.
I see you.
The other side is also true, and that's all I've been saying the whole time. I totally agree. But when we turn this thing inside out, there are. I'm not flip flopping. I'm saying the same exact thing. What I'm saying is, the community also has to respect the other side.
No one
But no
doesn't
one's
respect
saying
that.
No, but they do, and that's the problem that I have up here.
You have a
There
problem.
is a
for
lot
sure.
of this.
But
Oh,
I
my
don't think
goodness.
that's the problem.
Can we get to our comments really quick? Because we're not going to agree up here about.
We have agreed in some.
Y'all acting like the
capacities.
community don't be the. Kevin Hart, Oscars. Anyway. Is crying feminine, says Shay Joy. I think Sweet already kind of touched on that. I also don't agree that crying is feminine. I don't crying feminine.
I don't think it's feminine or masculine. I think for some people, it shows a loss of strength.
It was in relation to your Mike Tyson comment.
I mean, we all know Mike Tyson cries too.
Right. And he was a manly man, right?
My Mike Tyson comment was simply that there are men who need powerful reinforcement.
But he also
and
had
that
trauma.
doesn't.
He also had trauma. Do you understand how Mike Tyson was
Yes,
raised?
I do, but everybody
You understand
don't.
that?
That's the way everybody
But
go
then,
to that.
but
So
the
his-
example that
so-
you used was someone who did. So
Yeah. So he had trauma. So his result of how he became who he is a combination of his trauma that he monetized essentially, which again works in his favor. But we have to understand that trauma does come with some of those different things.
And I can agree.
Sure.
But there are manly men
Sure.
who
Without
need,
trauma, I get that
who
too.
need manly reinforcement. And my only point is giving a child or anyone manly reinforcement doesn't equate to toxic masculinity because you don't know who you're dealing with.
You don't.
You know what I'm saying?
You
Like
don't.
like me, for example. I want that encouragement. I want that, get your ass up, give me one more, you can do one more, come on, stop bitching.
That's
I
not
want
toxic.
that.
What you like? That ain't toxic though.
You just said it was,
Nobody said that.
if he imposing that upon me and he don't know that I'm gay,
What?
Well, what does
Right
that have to do?
now-
You're
What
still
you talking-
equating masculinity
Come on, man.
with heterosexuality, and that's been the issue this whole show. Is
In the
that
last
you haven't-
show.
in the last show.
in the last show,
They're not
Absolutely.
opposites. They are
Yeah.
not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, that's two
well,
separate
y'all
things.
should tell the community that then.
What? Sure.
Well, that's
sure.
something you and the community got in common.
Yeah.
It's confusing, right?
You're confusing.
It's like,
But
do you know what all the letters stand for and the two? Did you know
Sure.
it was a two?
sure,
You
Yes.
knew it was a two.
sure.
What the two stand for?
You didn't. Ain't no two. It's plus. First of all.
Ain't it a two? It's a
When
two.
did two come about? Because I ain't know that in the community.
That's my point.
But what's the
they
two?
add something every
It's
week.
two
Tell me the
eyes,
two.
isn't it? It's
Yes,
two eyes,
'cause
I
isn't
just
there's
had
it?
a
two.
training. What's the two now?
There's a number in
Isn't
it
there
I just
now,
had a
right?
training with the safe
Listen,
zone.
yeah, you better get it right.
It's
You-
okay. It's
I know
okay.
more about the community than you, and I ain't even in it.
Listen, it's all right. It's all
All right,
right.
here we go. What does straight look like? I guess that was presented to me. Here's what I believe, right? I believe that straight looks like whatever straight looks like to you if you are a straight man or a straight woman looking that way. And I'll say it because of this.
But the question is, what does it look like to you?
Is she posing that straight to me?
Probably.
Let's say that she is posing that straight to me then. But then I don't know if she mean girl or guy.
You know what the hell she's saying.
I don't know if she
You
mean
know it's
girl
about
or
a
guy.
man. You know
So
it's
let's- about a man?
Let's say
Yeah.
guy.
haven't
Because
talked
we ain't even
about
talking about
female
we ain't
sexuality
talking
at
about
all.
female
Let's say
sexuality. It's
guy.
about
Let's
lesbian.
keep it all the way
None
a
of that, 'cause
bean
that's
then.
acceptable, right?
Let's keep it a bean
Being a
then.
lesbian is acceptable. They like to see all types of stuff with women on women. So that's
Yeah.
another conversation. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, but that's considered toxic masculinity if I like to see two women together, right?
No. Next question.
It ain't?
Two
In
spirits?
some situations.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I never
Thank
heard that
you,
before,
sweet.
though.
Thank you. See, sweet, agree
Because
with
it's
me
not
on
about,
something.
no, it's not agreement.
That was
It's
agreement.
not at all.
That was agreement. Wasn't it agreement?
No.
Men love to see two women busting
But
it
that
out.
has nothing to do with, oh, I love seeing them being who they are. No,
No,
it's because they get some
it's a
sort of pleasure out of
fantasy.
it.
It's
It's a
sexuality.
fantasy. And they wish
We
they could
get-
be in
I
the
get
middle.
it.
So it's
But-
not the.
but
I get
no.
it.
Corey, be straight with me real quick. See how judgy y'all was about it though?
Judgy. Nobody said that.
They judgy. Maybe
Who did
not
I
you.
judge?
Maybe not you, but you was a little
Who did I
judgy,
judge?
sweet.
Who did I judge?
All the men that like seeing two women together.
Was that judgmental?
It
or
was
was
a
that
little
just
judgmental.
observational?
It was a little because y'all get something from it. It was a little.
I didn't say
Wasn't
y'all,
it, bro?
I said they.
I mean, a little bit, but I still want to know what straight looks like to you.
What straight looks like to
Straight.
me.
Let's say a straight man.
I'm gonna keep it a bean. I thought this nigga was straight when he came in.
Okay.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I thought I had to ask Ebony. I
But
said,
it's not. So where do we go from here?
I said,
It happens.
you know what I'm saying? See, it goes back to this, sweet. I don't care. I don't give a damn, right? But to answer the question, like, this day and age,
Exactly.
you don't know. Because I had to ask him.
Why
He
is
look
it?
a little sweet in person, I'm gonna tell you the truth. But on his page,
Why you look sweet
I was like,
in person?
because he told me.
Why you look sweet in person?
I'm saying he got a sweet little look to him.
What is it? Is it the purple jacket?
I
What
don't
is it?
know. It's like,
What? I want purple for Kobe. Yeah, I want purple.
listen,
Dang.
I don't, and no disrespect, but he told me too. So I had former insight as well.
Okay.
So it might have been before because we follow each other, and I ain't know from just following. Like I had to ask him. You know what I'm saying? Because he came in the DM. He was like, "No, this ain't right, and y'all need this and da da da." And I want to come on and da da da. I said, "Bro, you gay?" He was like, "Yeah, but don't nobody know." I said, "Well, you know we gonna talk about it on the show."
Oh, you was on a DL on a DM? He was on a DL on a DM.
Don't say that while he was DMing me. So, Shay, to answer your question, I don't really know what straight looks like this day and age, because it mutates. They get a new letter every week. I don't know.
Not mutate.
It's strange that you say in this day and age.
It's problematic.
It's strange that you say in this day and age when there have always been gay people.
And you know what? Back in the day, the gay dudes used to look a lot stronger They used to look. It was less. No, y'all could behind the scenes all y'all want. Keep it a bean. Back in the day, before the movement and everything like that, gay men were hiding, I should say, behind what they deem masculine.
What other people
You
deem
prefer that.
masculine.
You prefer that.
I prefer what?
That they look more masculine. That they
No, I
hide.
could give a damn. I could give a damn. All I'm saying is, I believe that children should be allowed to be children before they see sexuality.
Sure.
But does that apply to heterosexuality as well?
Yes. And that's exactly where I was about to go.
Sexuality
to your
in
point.
general, though, right?
If I have my oldest son is 13 now, so he's in the sexual realm, right?
Okay.
So at this point, I don't give a damn what he sees. I know, to your point, he's going to see everything under the sun, and he's going to have to learn about these things. I'm going to have to teach him about some things. But you back that up 2 years, 3 years, 6, 7-year-old, 8-year-olds, cartoons having homosexuality and everything
But
like
what
that.
about heterosexuality?
I don't want them to have nothing. I don't want them to have nothing because I don't believe that a parent should be having a sexual period conversation with a 7-year-old.
They shouldn't, but you keep saying homosexuality, though. Just
Yeah.
to kind of be
Well, no,
clear.
she asked about sexuality.
No,
and
but you use homosexuality as a way that made it.
because I never seen like forward heterosexual sexuality on cartoons before.
Nigga, we watched the Players Club when we was young. Come on now.
That's not a cartoon.
But
But
even in
still, it was
cartoons, it's
exposure.
still-
It's still exposure either way you look at it.
In
But
cartoons,
am I-
you
and the
still
same
see
thing,
male
But the
female
Players Club was
interaction.
still rated R, so that's your parents'
So
fault.
But
no,
in-
and
in
my dad
cartoons-
said turn your head, but I'm still peeking.
But in
So at
cartoons,
the end of the
you
day, it's
definitely
still
do see
exposure.
male-female interaction that kids can process as this is what relationships look like, and this is what.
Yeah, but
eventually I'll
that's
go-
normal though.
Why? That's the thing. Normal. Normative.
Listen.
Wait a
Look up the
minute.
definition of normal.
He can't-
Normal means
he's
it's
showing it up,
more
y'all.
prevalent than another thing.
Acceptable.
Straight and heterosexuality is more prevalent
It's normal.
than
But it was made to
homosexuality.
be
Yeah,
that
we
way.
know that.
There's no way-
Heteronormity. That's what the show should have been called. Heteronormity.
But it was made
But
to
that's
be that
a
way.
fact though. Like what do you mean it's made to be that way?
It's made for us to perceive things that way.
No, that's how it was made. Like
No.
a
How many
man's supposed to be
people-
with a woman, a woman's supposed to be
How
with a
many-
man.
That's his belief, y'all.
Yeah.
It is my belief.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm allowed to believe that
that's
without being
fine.
attacked. Get off me,
But you
Corey.
just contradicted yourself. But you contradicted yourself in saying no
definitely did.
sexuality. So I'm like, okay, so heterosexuality in cartoons. Well, that's normal.
No.
So is it not?
No, but I don't want my 7-year-old seeing that still.
But it's
I don't
still
give a damn
always
how
been a
normal it
cartoon.
is.
I watched Tom and Jerry the other day. Like it was Tom and a female cat, and he was trying to get at her.
What
Like,
did
it's
I ain't
always-
never see that episode.
It was plenty of episodes.
I ain't never see that.
It was
Not
plenty
Tom and
episodes.
Jerry, baby. I ain't never see all that on Tom and
What
Jerry.
did I miss that we need to go into before we wrap?
I think we covered, huh?
The last comment. All right, we'll go to there.
Never heard
Do you
of it.
believe society is trying to kill the strong black man? Mike Anderson says he does. I mean, that's what the show is about, Mike Anderson. I don't necessarily believe that they're trying to kill the strong black man, but make him not look as strong. I will say I can subscribe to.
There's lots of strong black men who are gay, so I don't see the.
I get where he going with that. I understand that there's a lot of imagery out there that has lent itself to looking a certain way. So I think sometimes when we're in a space where we are more woke and conscious and more aware about our culture and those things, for a person who is cleaving onto that, it can feel like an attack. I don't necessarily believe that it is an attack, but I think that because the imagery, again, it goes back to what's comfortable. And I say comfort, meaning that I'm uncomfortable seeing that. That's essentially what it is. I'm uncomfortable seeing that. And it's okay to be uncomfortable seeing it, but you can't personalize the experience because it's not about you. It's about someone else wanting to have representation for themselves in a space where they haven't before. I may not agree with everything that a gay man may wear on a red carpet. Like, that's just my personal opinion. I'm a gay man as well.
But see,
that's my
you
opinion.
allowed to. Let me say something about who the bull. Billy Holiday.
Not Billie Holiday.
With the
Billy Holiday?
Billy Porter.
Billy Porter. Him.
Uh-huh.
Hey, anybody got to go anywhere? Everybody good? All right, let's let it rock. Let's let it rock. Conversation's too good. Let's let it rock. Yeah, if I say something about Billy Porter, then I got hell to pay. I'm automatically homophobic. But you in the
Understand.
community, so you can say it.
They don't know I'm in the community, but I get you though. I get you.
But that's to her point about black and white that she always say, and she's right about it. You always could wave that gay flag and be like, oh, it's cool, he wanna us.
No, it's not. It ain't always that either. Because we still, it's always gonna be tension within group. Period.
Oh,
Whether
so
it's
back
black,
like I said earlier, where is tension between the letters?
No, it ain't about tension being between the letters. My point is that there's going to be within group differences with any culture or subculture because we're all not monolithic. We're all not the same. So at the end of the day, if how I choose to my phenotype and how I present is how I present, that's my prerogative. That's what makes me comfortable. I can choose to not like how you present yourself. That's my opinion. But it does not mean
choose to like how you present yourself as a gay man?
That's your yes, you can.
And that be okay though.
That's your choice. But again, you have to think about how sensationalized media is now also. So
I want Sweet to answer that same question too.
I'm sure she's going to answer. But my point is that we live in a society where those things are because they're offensive to people now. It is going to be a backlash. So you have to understand. You work in media. This is all y'all shit, right? So you have to understand that that's going to create issues between people because now we have a responsibility to include everyone. And if someone is made to feel uncomfortable, then it is a problem. So I do understand that, yes, you may feel that you may be targeted as a straight man to provide your opinion on options, but it's still rooted in your belief that a man should not be with a man anyway.
Sweet. Is it okay for a straight man to say, it's fine for him to be gay, but I'd rather they dress like him than dress all flamboyantly?
I don't.
He be trying it, y'all. He be trying it.
I personally don't understand why that matters.
Comfortability.
Why do you have to be comfortable with what somebody else looks
Why do
like?
I have to be uncomfortable?
What?
It's riddle time.
No, that's a thing.
All right, Riddler.
Why does that comfortability have to be forced on me for something that doesn't make me
It's not
comfortable?
forced. It's literally, I'm walking out the house looking like what I want to look like. Close your eyes. I don't
People
know what to
gotta
tell
mind
you.
their business and drink water.
Like
I don't get it.
I don't understand why. Well, I don't feel comfortable with the way he looks, so he can't look that way. I don't really understand why that's a thing.
If a man in male attire is normal to me, to me,
to you,
right, as a straight man,
to you,
right, and that it would make me more comfortable to sit next to a man in jeans and Kobe tribute jacket or whatever it might be.
Don't let him try you like that.
Wait, listen.
Not a Kobe tribute jacket.
Purple
Yeah.
Okay.
Tribute.
All right.
See, now you stirring it.
No, you stirring it. You stirring
Kobe
it.
tribute.
A Kobe tribute jacket.
He said.
I receive it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Anyway, versus if he wore a skirt. That would make me uncomfortable. I'm saying me.
Why does it
Kyrie
make you
Terrell.
uncomfortable? Does your
It would make me
sexuality feel threatened,
uncomfortable.
or your masculinity feel threatened by someone else's
No,
sexuality and masculinity?
it's just not normal to me. It would make me uncomfortable to be sitting next to a man with a skirt on.
Why?
Because it's not normal to me.
What
Just
does-
like it is normal to him, the flip side has to be accepted as well. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean I hate him.
I think you
it
should
means
look
the
at where
same
your
if-
discomfort really comes from, which I think
No,
is what
it's-
people
I said
avoid
that
doing.
30 minutes ago.
But it's not discomfort, and I feel
You
as
just
though
said it makes you uncomfortable.
I feel as though discomfort. I feel
You
as though
definitely did say that,
discomfort
You-
makes you.
you do
it
know you're
makes it an
contradicting
attack.
yourself, right?
It makes it an attack. No, because where y'all going is I can be uncomfortable sitting next to someone that has a burger because I'm vegan. I don't need to go to therapy for it. I just don't think you should eat meat. If I don't think a man should wear a skirt, I don't want to sit next to a man in a skirt. And that should be allowed. Like, I should have the ability to have that preference. I shouldn't have to be like,
So let me ask you
no,
this.
I have to just take this. It's okay.
Take what? Take
So-
what?
so
They're
wait,
not
wait,
doing
wait. So
anything
let me
to you.
ask you
They're
this. You say
existing in an
it's-
outfit.
It's
It
not
looks-
your normal. It's not
It's
your
not
normal.
my
So
normal.
if somebody comes up here that, let's say, is extraordinarily gothic, right?
Same.
And they come
Great
up
analogy.
and they have bars through their nose, bars through their
I'm
ears,
uncomfortable.
piercings
Why?
through their
Trench
nipples, and
coat,
it's going
the
through
whole-
here.
I'm uncomfortable.
If that makes
Great
you
analogy,
if that
bro.
makes you equally
You killing
as
it.
uncomfortable, then a man coming up here wearing a bustier or
Yes, I'm
whatever it
uncomfortable.
is that he wears that is unconventional, I guess I'll say.
Not a bustier.
A bustier.
Now you're uncomfortable.
No, I'm joking.
But no, I understand your point of view. If it's something that's outside of the scope that you're usually used to seeing, you're kind of sort of looking at it like, whoa, what's happening here? So it kind of sort of puts you out of the zone of comfort. Now, should it make you uncomfortable enough to, I guess, impose judgment upon that person and kind of sort of chastise that person?
Them in my mind, but I have enough tact and class to not verbally bash.
But I think that always spills out though.
In here,
that always spills
it comes
out.
Across.
That always spills out.
no.
And again, like I said in the
across.
beginning, in the subliminals.
I think I might like shoot Eb a look like this nigga got no skirt on. But after that, I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be okay with it.
Pick up on that.
Say
People
what?
pick up on that though, and people that then makes them uncomfortable because I think that's a scary position to be in when you're being your authentic self and you can tell other people are visibly like.
I'm gonna get you out of here with that one.
What?
Because if you got the balls to wear a skirt, I'm gonna go ahead and say people dirty looks ain't gonna mess with you.
That's not necessarily true. That's not true at all.
You like that one? You gonna leave me up here? It's a high
Leave him
five
hanging,
waiting
leave
for
him
you.
hanging.
You like that one?
But that's not true. Anytime you take a fashion risk, it's scary the first time. If I decide to go out and wear something more revealing than usual, I'm good. Like I wanted to wear it, at first, I think I look cute or whatever. But sometimes being outside and seeing other people's reactions to what I'm wearing, it does make me feel like,
But ain't that on you now? Because you took that fashion risk, you left out the house with whatever you had on.
No, because people should be able to.
You got on a blazer and Air Maxes.
I'm rocking it.
How you gonna tell somebody?
Listen,
that's your choice, right?
Listen, but the difference is, you can't get me out of here with that because I'm comfortable.
Exactly. Somebody can be in a skirt and be comfortable too.
Yeah, but y'all all came at my blazer and Air Maxes because it made y'all uncomfortable.
It didn't make us look uncomfortable. It don't look right.
Okay, so you allowed to say that. Wow. I'm allowed to say a man's hard, ashy knees don't look right in a skirt.
As far as your style choices and your lack of fashion sense in this moment, as opposed to a fundamental part of your identity. Come on, let's not.
You're talking about expression, right?
No. What I'm talking about is this. This is what I'm talking about. Look, because let's be real, right? Women's legs are shaped a certain way. They're supple. They're nice. They belong shown off in a skirt.
Where you are mistaken.
A man's strong ass legs don't belong in no damn skirt. That's why it looks funny to me as my Air Maxes with this damn blazer to y'all. It ain't always just about, I hate. It's about
body types are all different. Body types are all different regardless of
man or female.
Yeah, male or female, regardless of sex.
You
can have some feminine shaped men and some masculine shaped women.
We always gotta go to the exception to the rule when we talking about real.
It's
like,
not
let's be real.
to rule.
You get 100 women's legs and put them in a skirt, and get 100 men's legs and put them in a skirt. You gonna be like, ill over here.
You reference
99 out of 100 times.
You reference
and
the man's legs
on the other side.
You reference the man's legs being ashy. First of all, there can be ashy women as well, and also it's a weird thing where you associate hygiene with femininity, and I have an issue with that too because.
How? That's real too. Women have way better hygiene than men.
But it's not just they were just born wanting to have better hygiene. No, it's a societal
thing.
It's a societal norm that was pushed on men.
Like blue and pink.
Exactly. So I'm saying, where are these things coming from? It's not just innate. People give us these things and tell us that they are normal.
But I also agree that it's okay for a man to smell musky and a woman should never.
I don't never smell musky.
Any sense.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not saying
that doesn't make any sense.
That's not allowed.
I'm not saying you do.
But if it happens.
I'm a little musky out here right now.
Everyone should be clean.
I'm a little musky.
I was with you.
But
everyone should be clean.
I feel as though
hygiene
is a masculine thing.
It's a smell. You're talking about smells now, though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I never want to smell a woman smelling musky.
Women don't have.
Understand
let's be real,
if a man does.
Women don't have their own feminine musk smell.
Pheromones.
Exactly.
And stank is two different things.
Okay.
Men Like, let's be real. Men stink. Like, a man does things that makes him stink.
That's not okay.
Who be
It
stinking?
is.
It
It's
is not
manly.
okay. It is not okay for a man to stink.
You like stinking?
Bruh, you fart around your dudes?
I have, yes.
Did it stink?
Sure.
You just saying that to prove your point.
I'm saying that because I'm a human being.
Forget you, sweet. Ladies behind the scenes, y'all fart in front of y'all men, clap. They try and get me out of here.
No, because why would I hide a natural body function from somebody that I'm supposed to be spending a big chunk of my time with? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You should expect that I also have, that's not even a sexuality thing, because we both have that part. Like, I don't understand what
I'm saying is, I've been with a lot of women, and they hold their damn farts.
And that's because of a societal norm that was pushed on them because they are expected to act a certain way and be a certain
I
way.
don't disagree, but that's pink and blue.
But those
That's what
things
you
are
prefer,
made
though.
up.
That's what you like.
No, it's not that I prefer. I don't give a
things
damn
are
if she
made
fart
up.
around me.
Well, why do you think she's holding her farts though?
Because she was taught to, because she don't want to stink like a man.
And don't you think that's
Everybody
uncomfortable
farts
after
stink.
a while?
I do, which is why y'all should fart.
Exactly. Because that's just part of what people do. So why shouldn't other people do what people do?
I don't disagree with that, sweet. I'm simply saying we can't choose what societal norms to be okay with. We can't choose it. If it's blue for boys and pink for girls, is girls fart or guys fart, girls don't, we gotta get rid of both of them. We can't be like, well, this is society that teaches that, but let's take away the pink and the blue. We can't be on both sides.
But that's what my point is, that societal norms need to be observed and
You mean abolished? Like getting rid of?
as they
Observed.
need to be observed, and then
Not
we need to see
abolished.
the benefit of them, or if there is any. And if there's not, why are we still following them?
I don't necessarily agree with they should be observed. I feel like we should be on one side or the other. We should either have male and female norms, and that doesn't mean it's against trans or gay. It just means if you're a man that like men, pick a side. What bathroom you going to, bro? Or
What?
Gay people?
Let's wrap this up.
What? So now you just saying anything. So
no,
it's
I'm
time
not
to
saying
wrap the
anything.
show.
What I'm saying is,
So if you're
there's
gay, you gotta go
two-
to a woman bathroom?
No,
Like, what does that
I'm
mean?
saying you get to choose.
How you get to choose? I'm still a man.
Yeah.
No, but you do your community say if I identify as a woman,
That's
I can
what we
go to the woman's
misinformed.
bathroom.
I don't identify as a woman though.
Yeah, there's
No,
a difference
no, no,
between
no, I'm not
trans and
saying
gay.
you. I'm not saying
But
you.
you grouped it.
No, what I'm saying is
You definitely did.
within the community,
Within what community?
you know what community I'm talking about.
Which part of the community?
That's what I'm saying.
Within the community,
Which part of the community?
the community, the
Which
whole,
part?
the L or the
So the
T.
L, if they
Lesbian
are
or trans?
The L or the T, I think, is I don't know.
It's okay.
It confuses me.
So bathroom choice is more about what you're alluding to is that if someone who is identifying that was born a man who identifies as a woman, they need to choose which bathroom to go to.
Yeah, rather than
Okay.
us. I know we gotta get the straight pride. I know we do, but we having good conversation. God damn it. They keep rapping me on the back end. We gonna get the straight pride proper rate. Excuse me. I'm simply saying there's two sexes. There's male and there's
What
female.
about intersex people?
There's male and there's female.
What about intersex people?
They need to choose a side too.
That's not. So how are we defining sex? Is it your identity?
That happens in the
No, no.
bedroom. I'm not
Is
talking
it-
about what happens in your bedroom. I'm talking about in the public eye. They need to choose a side. We don't need 3 bathrooms.
But I literally just threw a fork in your, like, if there's not just 2, if I just said, what about intersex people? So how are we defining that
LGBTQI. Oh, damn, that's
intersex?
the I.
How are we defining, are we going by genitals? Are we going by what they say they identify as? Like,
No,
sex
we
and
going
gender
by
are
it-
different.
We going by today, I want to be a man and tomorrow I want to be a woman.
Okay.
Are you talking about gender fluidity?
No, I'm talking about intersexual.
That's not what that is.
That's-
What is it then?
An intersex person is someone who, I don't know in all cases, but from what I understand, they have both.
Does that count? Because I thought that was a hermaphrodite. I didn't know that had anything to do with your sexuality. Because
No,
a
I'm
hermaphrodite can
saying-
be I'm a man or I'm a woman.
You were saying bathrooms.
Yeah,
And
but
you're
you
saying
brought up intersex
man-
and then you failed to identify it properly, so I'm confused again.
No, you're speaking about sexuality.
I am.
But
Just
he
because
said bathroom.
even if you go to transgender, just because you're transgender doesn't mean that you are gay.
I agree. But it
Okay.
still means you got to go to the men's room or the women's room based on your choice.
Okay.
I don't believe we should be creating a third bathroom is what I'm saying.
What's the problem with third bathroom now?
It's a financial problem
For who?
for establishments that got to build another damn bathroom.
Okay.
Wait, but what about the single-use bathrooms that most of them had anyway? That
And that's
weren't just-
unisex.
That's the fix. But we getting legislation passed and all of this to create a third bathroom.
I ain't see that law.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's out there.
Okay.
It's out there.
It's coming up?
And there's
Okay.
laws about these damn pronouns. I'm not following everybody's pronouns, and I'm not living in a world where I gotta ask somebody to look like you or look like you. Can I say her? Can I say him?
Or you could
No,
just.
get that out of here.
But
That's
I think it's
stupid.
more so about if they tell you, then you should just respect what they tell you.
That's
Yeah,
it.
but still.
Because even if you, it's
The average person knows 75 people. If 18 of y'all give me these confusing names, I'm gonna mess them up. Oh,
But-
damn, Rodney said address her as him, but Corey said address him as her, and I think Jerome said don't address him.
you're going out of your way to make it more difficult
No,
than it really
society's
is.
going out of their
No,
way to
you're
make it
going
more
out of your way to
difficult.
make it more difficult than
Sweet,
it really
you
is
can't
to
call
just
your
respect
teacher
somebody.
Mr. and Miss no more. That's stupid.
What are you talking about?
That's actually a thing. Yeah, public schools are going to referring to them just as teachers.
Teacher Johnson.
Yeah.
Teacher.
Even if they definitively identify as one thing or the other?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's being pushed by administration.
See, look, even you think that's stupid, Sweet.
I'm not going to say it's stupid. I understand what their thought
Attempting to
process
do.
probably
Yeah.
is. I think it's when
That
you're
don't
trying
make it
to
not stupid.
It's what it
mean,
actually is
logic
doing is
behind
trying
something
to
does
avoid
make-
people having lawsuits. Because again, if you're getting in conversations of Mr. this and Mr. that or Mrs. this and Mrs. that, that becomes an issue of discriminatory. That becomes an issue of harassment. So what it is saying, you know what? Just call you Teacher Johnson,
And
Teacher
that's
Kyrie.
stupid.
But I mean, at the end of the day,
don't
would you
care
rather
if
get a
you-
lawsuit or somebody call you Teacher Kyrie? Which one is it?
But that's why our society is moving in the wrong direction.
Is it wrong or is it
Yes, it's wrong.
accommodating?
I'm gonna say that it's wrong.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that if you look like a woman, and your name is Regina Johnson, you're Miss Johnson. That's what I'm gonna say.
I don't disagree.
I'm gonna
with
say
you.
if you look like a man, you got on slacks and a tie, and your name is Bob Thomas, you're Mr. Thomas.
I agree with you, and I don't think that people who have that, who make those assumptions, should be looked at as though they have 12 different heads. Because you have on
Yes.
a dress, and you have long hair, and you have on lipstick, and I go and say, "How are you, ma'am?
Right.
How are you, miss?
And the normal
Why are you
thing-
looking at me as though? Why did you just call her
Exactly.
miss?
Exactly.
That
Because
is,
the normal
in
thing
my
is that's
opinion,
a woman.
That's outrageous. That's outrageous. And let me rephrase that. Maybe not. Outrageous.
Stay on outrageous. That was good.
Maybe not
Don't lose me,
outrageous,
Corey.
but it's unreasonable. And
Okay, I
I
can
think
go
that
for that too.
we're moving out of the realm of reasonability and kind of sort of vilifying people that have just operated in a certain norm over the past, well, their entire lifetime. Like, in my opinion,
Which
it is
they're allowed to
legitimately
do.
ridiculous if you come in, like I said, and you have on a gown or you have on, Tim's and whatever, and I'm calling you sir or mister. Why are you looking at me like I have 12 heads? And I'm just addressing you as how you're,
what I perceive
what you're presenting
to be
me.
normal. That's
Yeah, I don't disagree with
I
that.
don't think that well, I personally
make it quick. They tell me I gotta get the straight pride. We gotta get out of
Okay,
here,
well,
but
I
go ahead.
personally don't feel like if the initial encounter you're not sure or if you get it wrong, fine, whatever. In most cases, they'll just correct you, and I think the issue from there is if you actively decide not to respect their wishes.
Right.
I agree with that.
That's it.
I don't, because if you look like a woman and you present like a woman, but you say, address me as Mister, that's wrong. I'm
Or
sorry.
just address them by their name.
I'm gonna say that.
Or just address them by their name.
Not if you're a child, though.
Okay.
If you're a child, I'm taught to do that. Skip straight pride parade?
Sure.
Why? Where are we going now then? We got more comments? Why are we rapping? It was a good conversation.
Yeah, ain't no
Everybody
straight.
said they ain't had nowhere to go.
Ain't no point in talking about no straight pride parade.
We had one.
Yeah, we already know.
The
it's
hell is a
stupid.
straight pride parade?
We
Y'all
had
walk up and
120.
down the damn streets every damn day.
All
That's a
right.
Oh,
parade.
well, since we on that,
That's your parade.
Let's
Facts.
go 1:30 and we'll wrap it.
1:30.
So any
I think one of the subjects
What
that
time
we were
is it,
going to talk
y'all?
about was your children and kind of sort of veering them in one direction or the other.
All right, we're going to put that on the parking lot. I want to know if any of you have anything, any last things to add to the conversation that we may not have gone to. If not, we'll go there.
I think it was a great conversation and dialogue. I think that there was a little bit more informing today. So
Yo, stop coming at Taki like that, dog.
No. That's a homie. He cool. But at the end of the day, I think that as a culture, we have to have more conversations that open
Definitely.
up dialogue for understanding. We're never going to understand all the nuances within our sexuality, how we identify, because there's too many to understand.
Definitely.
The proper thing for us to do is to be compassionate, to be open, and to be non-judgmental. We can have our own perceptions about things, but at the end of the day, mind your damn business. That's what I say.
I couldn't agree more, but just make sure you tell the community to feel that same energy on the
Yeah.
straight side.
Why don't you talk to them? Go to a meeting.
Sweet. Anything?
I agree with everything that was already said. I would also like to add, there are norms that are norms not just because we live in a vacuum, but because they're made to be that way. So take a minute to try to think about why you feel like something is a norm. And there's a pretty good chance that if you give it enough thought, you'll really question it on your own. So before you act on those, well, this is how this is supposed to be, think about why you feel that way, and then think about why the person that you plan to antagonize, let's call it what it is, might not feel that way.
And I'm going to jump off your back and stir your pot a little bit, because I believe that there is no thought given to the sky really being blue or trees really having green leaves. We can't become a society that questions everything,
Why not?
because some things really are what they are.
But people who've oppressed us felt the same way, and where would we be had we not questioned them?
No, dude, you're going outside of my point to make a point about something that we know is and has turned. What I'm saying is that we do live in a world where some things are finite. That's a fact. We do live in a world where what goes up must come down, where law of attraction is a real thing, where karma is a real thing, where some things are real things. So the point that I'm going toward is, we could get to a point where we find out that everyone should be sexually fluid, right? That men are supposed to be with men, women are supposed to be with women, and everything. We could also get to a point where it becomes finite that man was never supposed to be with man and woman was never supposed to be with woman. My entire argument this entire time was that we've gotten to a point in life where, not even life, but society, where we are being forced to accept the change and the difference in everything. And I just believe that some things are the way that they were supposed to be. And you can outthink yourself sometimes. You can think yourself into a tizzy in a circle when, like I said, the sky is really actually blue, but you're on this tirade to prove to the world that it's purple. It's really blue.
I'm just going to say, you can overthink yourself into a tizzy. I try to be intentional with where I go when I think about these things. And
But you said try.
okay.
You have to be finite if you're going to make that statement. You are intentional.
Sure. Yeah. I'm intentional, and I like to employ historical research. And I think because, what we know as societal norms today weren't always the societal norms. So
But
I
there
think,
are things that were societal norms that still are today.
but this isn't one. What we're talking about isn't one of them. That's what
Okay.
I'm getting at. Point blank period. That's what I'm getting at. So if we know it wasn't always this way and it became this way, how did it become this way? And I think that there are things that are tied to that we're in the process of unlearning it in other areas, and we recognize that it's wrong in some areas, like racism, things like that. A lot of that stems from the same place. White supremacy has influenced how we view sex and gender too. I think it's all about context, because we don't exist in a vacuum, and that's all I'm saying. Believe what you want, but you can't look at it from where you are right now and expect that to apply to everybody. You need context for everything.
Sure.
Corey, last final thoughts, final words.
No, like I said in the beginning, I think that dialogue is really the gateway to understanding. And one of the things that I shared earlier was about perspectives, right? And I didn't share this with you, but I'm not sure if you ever saw that meme. You ever see the meme? It's like the cartoon of two characters standing on the opposite sides of the letter, the number 9 or 6. So from this person's vantage point, that number appears to be a 9. From this person's vantage point, that number appears to be a 6. And just because it looks like a 6 to you does not mean that I'm wrong for it looking like a 9 to me.
100%.
Meaning that just because I'm right on my side doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong on your side. And I think that dialogue really just opens the gateway for us to really be able to understand where one another is coming from, as opposed to force feeding the way that I live is the way that you're supposed to live, because that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
And I think that that's really, we all really just want to be heard and understood, as
Right.
opposed to chastised. But dialogues like this,
Right.
amicable dialogues like this are, what kind of sort of helps us get there.
Definitely. And the very last thing that I'll add, I'm self-proclaimed ignorant in this whole topic, this whole space. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that as a truth. I mean, ignorance means I don't know. I'm uneducated on a lot of the things that the LGBTQ community believes in.
Am
how
I
they
the damn
function.
representative for the damn
How they-
community?
No,
Shit.
just you were standing up for him. But no, I seriously mean that in a way, because this came up on last week's show. There needs to be more open dialogues from the LGBTQ community about what those letters mean, what those letters represent, how straight people should perceive those letters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't say that I say that to bring more unity from straight people and gay people, lesbians, transgenders as well, because there's so much that is misunderstood that turns into quarrel, where it's not necessarily I don't agree or I don't like, but I simply don't know. So now I make an uneducated reference, I make a distasteful joke, I move in a certain way that I shouldn't move in, and now it becomes, oh, you're phobic or you're fake or you're hateful or whatever it may be. And a lot of times it's back to the Kevin Hart point. When what he said was Lee Daniels told him all you had to do was apologize for the violent part that you evoked. He literally didn't understand until Lee Daniels said that to him that was the main reason the community was in an uproar. He thought it was, I already apologized, I'm not apologizing again. I don't feel that way, I'm not that person anymore, I'm not apologizing again. That was ignorance, right? That was, you don't even know what you said and why it made us feel a certain type of way. We've had to deal, some of us, with that sort of violence. I had a dollhouse broken over my head for being gay before, right? That made me feel some type of way, and Kev
What
never.
happened with the dollhouse?
So his tweet was, if I see my son acting this way,
Oh, okay.
I'll break a dollhouse over his head.
Oh,
that
okay.
was violence.
Yeah.
That was a violent act.
Yeah.
He never addressed that, right? And this is what he says on his documentary, so I'm not just pulling this out of
No, I
nowhere.
watched it. I ain't
He
get to
never addressed that, and then Lee Daniels said, Kev, you got to take that violent piece
Yeah.
out of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's when he understood.
Yeah.
So I say that to say there's more dialogues like this one that are needed so that we can understand each other more, because there are vast differences that people just don't understand. And no matter why you want to roll your eyes, sweet, because I know you over there like, well, you should just get it. You should just know.
That's
And you
not what
should
I was
just-
thinking at all.
Well, what you rolling your eyes at before we get out of here?
I was thinking, one, Google is free, but
I was
also,
about to say that.
like, they're
That's unfair.
No, let me
That's
finish.
hold
Let me
on.
finish.
It's unfair to say that Google is free when you got all of these terms that people interpret different. I'm quite sure if you had a panel of people that represent the different letters in that community, they wouldn't all subscribe to what's searchable on Google.
No, it's not about that. What she's suggesting, let me help you out. I got you. I got you. Because I was going to say the same thing. A lot of times when we talk about this idea of creating dialogue and safe spaces, it's always for the other side to come to you to present some information, where that information you can find out if you truly want to know.
Bro, if you vegan, bring your own food to the cookout. It's
That's
not incumbent upon the people.
What we're saying is do the intellectual labor yourself, because you shouldn't demand that from them.
If you want to learn and change, do the due diligence. Simple as that.
So it's not up to black people to teach white people black culture? And
We
why,
don't even care about them
why
learning
we
black
feel
culture.
oppressed?
It's not even about they need to know
We've
black
done that
culture.
too much.
This
We've
is how
done
you
that too
treat.
much.
This is how you treat me because
Watch it
I'm a
happen with
person.
Chelsea Hannah. You don't like that.
I'm not talking about
saw that one?
treatment. Like
That was good.
I'm talking about
Chelsea Hannah.
simple understanding. I'm talking about aha moments about
Simple
things we don't
understand, but we're
understand.
not going to act like there aren't whole schools of thought and people who've written books upon books, and you can study, you can watch a YouTube video about it. It's not always up to the oppressed person to teach their oppressor,
It's
because
not
that's just
oppression.
It is
Why does
oppression.
it go there immediately? It's not. It's I don't know what you are.
But
It's,
you're-
I
if-
don't know how
no,
you want to be addressed.
But if you're a part of the majority who benefits
We
from
aliens.
if you're part of the
Fuck
majority
yeah.
that benefits from the oppression of the minority, then you're complicit in that, then yes, you are contributing to their oppression.
Not if you're not a part of the oppression.
Do you want to learn is the point, though.
That's why I'm.
So are we leaving
you're
it up
not-
to the oppressor to have the desire to want to understand us? Or are we, as the oppressed, do we want the oppressor to feel like, do we want the oppressor to understand us? Because I feel like if the oppressor doesn't understand, they don't want to understand us.
Exactly.
Period.
That's the
the
thing I'm
point.
getting at.
But what I'm saying, if you are the oppressed, ultimately, all you want to do is feel like that person, like we're on the same page, we're on the same
Exactly.
level.
I
So
don't give
I
a
don't,
fuck.
I
But I'm
almost,
saying-
I almost
Because
feel
I
like,
think you should do your own due
You
diligence.
should do, but like someone,
just
a gay
me.
person shouldn't have to hold your hand and walk. This is how I feel as a gay person.
But that's
and this is how-
unfair.
You're going to respect me. at
Men
the
and
end of the day.
women, straight men and women.
Period.
There's still to this day, there's podcasts, there's books, there's relationship shows about men and women trying to understand each other. So you
Yes.
cannot say that it's unfair. It is unfair to say, well, if you want to know about me, just Google me. What?
That's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have to do
no.
work on your part. No one's going to put together a PowerPoint presentation for you and have you just sit there and receive all of it. There has to be work on your end too.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
And that's why I'm promoting. I'm a straight man. This is work in that direction, sweet.
but I feel like it goes by this, you know how they say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink?
Absolutely.
I almost feel like it's the horse would be the oppressor, right? You lead that horse to the water.
Yeah.
But if you are the oppressed, you at the very least, I won't say have to, but it would be
pour 'em
in
up a
your
cup?
best interest if you want them to see life from your point of view, to at least lead them to the water.
But I don't think
Exactly.
that they haven't been doing that. So like when all those people were coming at Kevin Hart, there were people in the comments explaining what this other person explained to him, and he just didn't want to receive it because he was like, well, I don't want to do that whole, well, I don't feel like I have to. It doesn't matter what you feel like in this moment.
Right,
When it comes to
right.
this, you have to listen to what people are saying to you. It's not they didn't give me the information. They did.
You don't.
Thousands of people.
You don't have to. Number one, and number two, he was ignorant. See, that's the
That's
thing,
willful
because
ignorance is a
he's
thing.
who he is.
But willful
we
ignorance
place
is a
that
thing.
have to on him.
I'm saying
if he
have
was
to
Joe
in-
Schmo,
no.
people wouldn't have gave a damn.
People would have. If
They
they
would
were,
have gave
yeah,
a
they
damn.
would have.
It wouldn't have
But
been
I'm saying have to,
sensationalized.
as
but they would've
in
gave a
order
damn.
for your career to go to where you wanted to, for him to get whatever he wanted. Yes, you have to. You,
know
have to
it's
maintain a
game.
public
You know,
image.
Come on now, we're
That's-
not. If
and
we're gonna
everything
talk,
else, you
we
gotta
gonna
maintain
But
a
to
public
your
image.
point, yes, I do agree it's a
Right.
game.
You know
but
that.
because it's a game doesn't mean he has to.
I'm saying for the circumstances.
But what did he do though? He tried to do it.
He backhanded it. He backhanded
Yeah,
it.
he
For the
tried to do it. That's what I'm
circumstances, yes, you
saying.
have to.
Listen, man, I'm being wrapped, man. We can go on all night. Conversation was amazing. I thank y'all for
Absolutely.
being here, man. Had some
Appreciate you
fun, had
having
some
me.
good times. It's the first episode of the Sweet and Sour Show,
And the
y'all.
last.
Sweet will be back.
No, I will
Mark
not.
my words, she will be back. We're
No,
gonna
I
get a
will not.
topic ready for her. It's gonna be about wigs and light skin versus dark skin. She gonna be like, ooh, I got to get in on
Not
that.
wigs.
Sweet love a good wig, boy. Listen, man, thank y'all for watching My New Philly, where something's always new and everything's always Philly. tight suits and Air Max gang. I'm talking about